Hello, my chicklets. Thank you for stopping by. Today we will be reading Day 8 in our Soulmate September series, where the temperature of your chest gets hotter when you are closer to your soulmate and colder when you are further away. Today's story is called Seeking Your Warmth. This was cruel and unusual punishment. Didn't Virgil's boss know that it was positively criminal to take someone's soulmate away once they had met? Janus reached out for another blanket. He knew Virgil would be home soon, but that didn't make the cold ache in his chest any better. He was half tempted to turn the heater back on, but he knew as soon as Virgil walked through the door of their house, he would feel warm once again, and the heater would be too much. Janus didn't like the way the heater dried out his skin anyway. Scars were already so hard to take care of properly. Instead, Janus nestled further into the blankets as he sat on the couch, waiting for his heat source to come home. He had always been naturally cold as a kid, and on his 10th birthday, when he was supposed to feel the warm pull of his soulmate, he had only felt colder. He'd gone through the full stages of grief, the anger, the bargaining, the depression, and just when he thought he was ready to accept that he didn't have a soulmate and could be cold the rest of his life, Janus found him. Come to find out, the dumbass lived in a different country than him, thousands of miles away. It was only while traveling abroad that Janus finally knew what it meant to be warm. He had fallen in love with it. Everyone always thought it was so romantic, Janus leaving his life behind, moving close to Virgil, and starting to build a life in the same country as him while the two of them slowly built a relationship. Those people didn't realize that it wasn't about the romanticism. It was about thermodynamics. Janus had felt the warmth coursing through his veins, finally felt the promised warmth he had been told about as a kid. The freezing tundra of his life finally had sun. He was not going to give that up. Maybe that hadn't been the only reason. Janus would be lying if he'd said he didn't immediately notice that Virgil was his type. His height was deceptive, as his hunched shoulders made him seem shorter than he was, yet he had proudly been wearing makeup out in the open. He was a contradiction, and Janus always enjoyed a good contradiction. Even when they got closer, Virgil continued to surprise him. Emo music and show tunes, horror movies and Disney classics. He was never sure what to expect when it came to Virgil's interests, even after being married for 5 years, and Janus relished every moment of it. What he didn't relish was being cold again. It had only been 4 days, but 4 days was far too long for his taste. Looking down at his phone for the time, he groaned. There was still 2 more hours before Virgil's plane landed, and another hour before he would be home after that. Maybe Janus should try and get some sleep. He snuggled deeper into his blanket cocoon and closed his eyes, hoping that sleep would overcome him quickly. When he woke up, he felt warm, but he didn't feel the same swaddling feeling he got from all of his blankets. Instead, 2 arms were wrapped around him. Normally, he would care about being the one cuddled rather than being the cuddler, but Virgil's soft voice whispered, "Go back to sleep, Jan." It was soft and lulling. They would talk about Virgil abusing an opportunity since Janus was asleep, but for now, Janus just curled back up into his husband's chest. He snaked a leg around Virgil and buried his face in Virgil's neck. Janus let out a contented sigh and began to close his eyes. The warmth had filled him once again, touching his heart and spreading out like a warm blanket. He would never admit out loud just how much he missed this warmth. "Welcome home," he muttered. "It's good to be back." Virgil's voice reverberated in his chest, and before Janus could think another thought, he had drifted back to sleep. Thank you all for listening. Again, this one is called Seeking Your Warmth, one of the shorter Soulmate September series. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful day.